Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. The meeting will be starting shortly. While we wait, let's learn more about Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
which is upcoming. We don't have Dave here, so I don't know when exactly that engagement is going to start.
It's already started.
Oh, it has?
As far as
Well,
we had the initial meeting
okay.
with BB, and that was on the 31st of January. It was a good meeting. One of the principals, Mary Venable, at BB, she seemed to be very helpful and very involved. The whole thing went really, really well.
Good.
I've already given them a bunch of information from past reports and studies on a bunch of the buildings, the 13 buildings that were included in the contract, and they're digesting that information currently.
Yeah, so like studies and drawings?
Exactly.
Okay.
There's a couple of reports there. I have some more information that I'll be forwarding to them probably the first of next week. I don't want to keep on giving them dribs and drabs. I'm just pulling up what I have in emails and digital files from other studies that have been done and work that's been completed.
Could you just speak into the mic, please?
Oh,
Do you have one you could have at the desk or anything?
That's all right.
Or?
That one moves.
Oh, okay.
I'll stand up here.
If you want.
I'm good.
All right.
I'll stand up because I'll be brief.
41 minutes. All right.
Mark's got to go.
Yeah.
So the meeting went really well. They have a bunch of resource information now. They will get more resource information from me in the next week or so. They'll digest that. For the buildings that they don't get a lot of resource information on, I will provide them with, they have a questionnaire, a 3-page questionnaire on the individual buildings. So I'll provide them, I'll fill those questionnaires out for the buildings that aren't outlined heavily in, because there are a couple of buildings that some information may be lacking in those reports. I really need to review them before I reach out and do that. But, so I will be doing that. And then we have, they have an inspector who's a North Shore guy. I think he's from the Rowley area. Peter Mara he's been vetted by the PD already, pre-vetted. I've taken care of that. So all of that stuff's all happening. And they will be in town, and Peter will be going through the buildings and getting all the information they need for the study between the 20th and the 23rd of March.
Oh, good. So Jeff, is he doing the assessments? Like, is he looking at the mechanical, electrical, and
Everything.
He's
Yep.
looking at everything. That's
Yep.
great. It's good to have the local person.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really good. That's awesome, actually.
So they'll be doing that. And I do believe that the outline calls for a preliminary report for sometime mid-April, and then final reports by early May.
Yeah, that sounds good. Does anybody have any questions for Jeff?
I don't know. I mean, you're just getting into the weeds with the interest once he starts.
Yeah.
So.
I guess the format of the reports that they're going to be giving, is it a report or is it a
I believe that, I don't know what I didn't get a sample outline from them of what would be in the report for each building, but I do believe I have some information on exactly, like you mentioned, Mark, the mechanicals in each building, square footage of rooms, some minor recommendation points for each individual building, anything that they see that's, way out of line. All of this information will also be collated with the information and the Department of Labor study that's going on report that's going on right now, because we're doing a bunch of work in town for the State of New Hampshire Department of Labor. Went through town. I think, we're probably leaning on maybe 2 months ago.
What format are they giving you the report, I guess is probably what is it?
Format?
Is it a digital?
Yeah, it's a digital report, and the deliverables are all in, it will be a workable plan from them, a program from them that will outline everything, and we can integrate it with our current setup that we have from
Which is what we had
people.
talked about before,
Yeah.
just so that-
We'll be able to integrate all of the information that they gather with our current information module, and be able to they'll work together.
Perfect.
And they will work with us after the fact to do that. And they have, everybody has their own, they have their own add-ons to all these contracts. And they mentioned during that initial meeting that they have an add-on for barcoding for mechanicals and everything, so.
With asset tags on all of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Asset tags on everything, and barcoding for all the mechanicals and ductwork and everything.
Is that something you're interested in doing at some point?
I think that it would be something that we may be interested in doing in the near future. I'd like to see the finished product from this contract with them, see how all of this flows. We have the better part of 2 months going forward, and they'll see what information comes from this, and then if we want to have them back, we can get a cost from them to have them back to do that other part.
The one good part about that is that when you do change, a fan or whatever else, and it's got an asset tag on it, it automatically would go back into the database, when it's changed out.
Well, and it may be as simple as being able to take a picture, a barcode reader.
That's all you have to do, yeah.
A barcode reader and a simple picture of the work that was
You
completed.
can do a QR code or a barcode reader.
And then you'll have all of that information when the last time that part was changed in that boiler or that HVAC system, these split systems, all of that stuff. So it could be a great help to us.
But Jeff, you guys are using a work order system, right? That's the
People GIS, yeah.
And so it's a module from that. you
Yep.
use. And how does that going with general work orders for the department,
We're not using the building portion of it in maintenance yet.
Okay.
That's why this will marry in with that for us, for maintenance, but we're using it in fleet.
Okay.
And the fleet thing works great for us. It works very well for tracking, for cost analysis, for everything.
So I'm bringing it up because that system will have to be, the QR code part will have to be incorporated in that.
And that's in there. That's available in there.
When we were trying to do this in our school, we're still struggling, trying to work out some logistics. And it sounds great, but then when you actually try to implement it, it doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, and I don't get that feeling from either of these people, from BV, and I certainly don't get it from people.
Yeah. It's one of those things sometimes it sounds good, but then when you actually try to do it, it's more work to do it that way than it is just to go and just update your own database and not worry about the electronics. But anyways,
I think that that both systems will speak the same language, and it'll be easily integratable.
Good.
They know that we're dealing with people. I mentioned that in that initial meeting, and they were aware of People GIS. So
We know somebody there now, right?
Oh yeah, well, that person is our contact. So.
Who is that person?
Okay, never mind, we won't get into that in public,
We can have a conversation about that.
Okay.
Another time.
Well, as long as we can use his knowledge of the town to our advantage in this case, then that'll be
Oh,
good.
in this case, we will. And all of those buildings, none of the buildings on that side of our house are a part of this study. It's just the other outlying buildings. Everything in that side is all already in People, and they're already using those forms. The people that they have in place, their techs are already using that for all of their building. Everything that they do in their buildings is already in People, so.
in the public works, in the wastewater treatment plant, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you got a separate system for that one,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And all of those buildings are all in that.
Yeah, but they're using it as maintenance schedules and stuff like that.
Correct.
Yeah, they're doing all
Correct.
And then the other thing from BV will be their own software. And the other part of that is for the town administrators to use to kind of run numbers on forecasting and asset management as far as if we put money here over the next 10 years, what does that do for the other buildings and stuff? So
Exactly.
are you going to be the guy who's kind of...
Yep.
Okay, so you have to teach Russ how to use this thing, or or Dave?
Well, you just run a report to sit there and say, here's your total maintenance for all of your assets, right?
Yeah.
And replacement costs and...
Yeah, here's
Exactly.
the backlog, here's what we have to do in the next year, next 5 years,
Right.
next 10.
Right.
So, I mean, that's...
It should give us a bit of a roadmap
Yeah.
to follow.
That's what we're hoping.
And then we can add things that are of greater importance, be it
Yeah.
for political reasons or major breakdown or
Yeah.
safety, ADA, all of those things.
Yeah.
I think that it will all marry together. It'll give us a more comprehensive view of exactly where we stand with everything.
Yeah, no, that'll be great. And I know it's going to take, probably a couple of years to really get it up and rolling.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing as with the ADA study and the DAC track and all of those things. This should all come together and work easier
Yeah.
for us, but it is definitely going to take a while
Yeah.
to turn it all around and get it all in place so it's it's easy to navigate, it's easy to use, and give everybody what they need out of it. But it's a great start.
All right. No, that sounds good, Jeff. I'm glad that's moving forward and going well. Does anybody have any more questions on the FCA portion?
It's good news.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
Yes.
I guess the other two things, Jeff, one would be annual projects list. Mark, I think you had mentioned something about that.
Yeah, no, just what was the plan for this year?
I haven't formulated a plan. We had a plan in place at the end of the year before Jennifer retired, but the Department of Labor study will take precedence over that list. And that list was, immediate needs, and the safety needs in the Department of Labor list will take precedence over that. And we have a lot in Town Hall, so I can see us moving in that direction. There's a lot from the Department of Labor in Town Hall, too.
So is it 100,000 again, Jeff?
Yes.
And that's what was approved, and
Yes.
what eventually gets approved?
Yeah, if it gets approved.
In March.
In March.
So I'm not familiar with the Department of Labor study. I don't know if you guys...
Well,
First I've heard of it, yeah.
I don't believe that we have the final report from the Department of Labor. All we have is information that was compiled by several people here in town when we went around and went through all the buildings with the Department of Labor.
So was this a complaint, or?
No, it was just, they hadn't been here for a while, and, pre-COVID, it'd been several years since
Okay.
they had gone through all of our buildings, so they went through all of the buildings in town.
So they gave you a report and you're basically, it's part of your...
They haven't given us a
Oh,
report
they
yet, as
haven't
far
given
as I
you
know.
one. Right, but that is something you're expecting to...
I'm expecting that report, and we'll have that report, but we've already been acting on things that we know are needs.
Well, what are they looking at? They're looking at like ADA accessibilities and ergonomics?
Some of it is ADA ergonomics. A lot of it has to do with everything that the Department of Labor looks at.
Yeah.
A lot of safety issues, both minor and major, throughout all of the buildings in town. Every asset that we own, they looked at.
But are they looking at it, sorry, I'm just not familiar with what their...
Fire, safety, emergency.
Emergency egress, thing?
Yep,
Okay.
egress lighting.
Okay.
Those are all the things that we're working on now.
Is this something that they do with the town every so often?
Every so often, but they haven't been in town. I want to say the last time they were in town was probably early 2000s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay, so it's not scheduled like every 5 years they're coming through?
No, they used to do that, but I think that prior to COVID, they had backed away from it because they didn't have the staffing. And then post-COVID, they have some staffing, but they're still very much understaffed.
Is this state or federal?
State of New Hampshire Department of Labor. So we have some information from that we gathered as they were doing their inspections. And that information, the biggest parts of it, we've already hit on. Some of that won't be included in the report when we do get it, because we've already made those corrections.
Okay.
And the other corrections going forward, whatever is included in the report, we'll need funding to do a lot of that, and a lot of it is in town hall. So, but we need to have a comprehensive view of exactly what they expect from us, so that we're financially responsible in this and not chasing good money after bad by doing work now and then, oh, we shouldn't have done it that way, we should have done it this way. So
That ties into that town hall master plan.
exactly. That will give us a great starting point for that, because a lot of these changes also have to do with some of the things that everybody is talking about that they want to do with HVAC improvements in the building, making the building more usable and more user-friendly, ADA access. People have been talking about that restroom up on the first floor, at least for ADA.
When you get the report, do you have a timeline that you have to commit to?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, they're working with us. They're not looking to point a finger or look down on us or penalize us at all. They're working with us, and that's the way DES is with us with a lot of the things we deal with the state of New Hampshire. So as long as we're open and forthcoming with them and making a good effort to getting things corrected, they'll work with us.
But
as far as time, there is an expectation, yes.
That you're addressing these or coming up with a plan.
Coming up with a plan to move forward and address them.
Yeah, I mean, there may be things that you have to do, even though you want to do them differently 5 years from now.
Yes.
You might have to do it now. Right?
Exactly. But I'd like to limit those things.
Yeah, for sure. Did they look at your spaces where you, like the garage, the maintenance garage?
Everything.
So they were looking more like the employee, the workplace, right? Is that the stuff they were looking at?
Well, yeah, all of that. All of it, access to the buildings, whether it's employees or the public coming into the public buildings.
Okay.
Public too.
Yeah, that's interesting. We had something similar years ago, but we asked them to come in and do an assessment.
And we had, I heard from some other people that we know in other local towns that they've been in Hampton too, and a few other places recently.
So is it possible that this report will come out before we finish the report on the FCA?
I do believe it will.
So we can add that into the soup.
Exactly. So there will be a lot of information to compile, and then we'll have to shuffle that deck and see how it all comes
Yeah, but I think that getting that into the database, and then obviously it's going to be a priority one or however.
And that's the issue. Now you can actually start to put priorities to these.
Well, and I think it works in our favor right now to have had this now, because we can start with anything that the Department of Labor thinks is, I don't want to use the word egregious, but anything that's really important, for safety of the people working here and the safety of the public using our buildings. We want to make sure that all of our buildings are safe and comfortable for everybody.
Yeah, and then you just may have to look at it. You may get an option where you look at it as a temporary fix because you have something bigger to do it, right? So, I mean, it's all good. It is a great time because you can incorporate it into this final document that's being developed by
Exactly.
by PV. But yeah, well.
So that's where we stand with that.
Yep. And then the last item was just the DAC track, the ADA list of stuff. I think it's you and Doug who are kind of spearheading that.
It was Dave and Doug originally.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Dave has bowed out and moved on. I think it's both Doug and myself.
Is it sliding downhill, is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I meant at all, Rob. Don't put words in my mouth.
Yeah.
So it sounds, I don't know if you guys have a plan to address that. It sounds like this Department of Labor study
Is going to have a lot to do with
Yeah.
I would think so, yeah.
prioritizing that list for us.
Yeah.
And the way that I think about the ADA access list is, obviously it would be foolhardy not to include that in anything new build moving forward.
Yeah.
And do those improvements, the larger improvements, the more expensive parts and pieces of that study would be implemented in any kind of new construction anywhere, in any of our
Or
towns or
renovation.
buildings, renovations,
Yeah,
all of
I
that
think-
stuff.
yeah, makes sense.
And a lot of that will have to do, like I said, I keep pointing to the town hall and thinking about the town hall because I hear a lot from a lot of people in town about town hall and town hall usage and
All new information.
not just residents, it's, people that work here too.
Sure.
We have a couple offices in that building and, it's a real old building, was never designed to do what we're doing with it, so.
So on that, obviously the repair to the cupola went well and,
Went very well.
Yeah.
Went extremely well. Great group of people.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And yeah,
that's
I will
positive.
probably have them back in the near future, depending on how everything that we've talked about to this point goes, to do the facade of the building. That was the last place done before they came, and they did the cupola in the other three sides of the building.
Yeah.
So this facade here, where the portico is, will need to be done next.
Yep.
And I've had my guys do some minor work there, and we repaired the rotted out railing and things like that, doing minor housekeeping jobs. But the rest of it, that whole roof on the portico is probably going to need to be done in the next few years, just because it's been patched a couple of times, and we don't want to incur any major repair there because it was all redone several years ago. So there's some minor work that needs to be done and some repainting. So if I have my way, we'll have Limerick Steeplejacks back to do that because they do great work.
Yep, that's great. Any more conversation about, I know the Energy Committee was talking about insulating and things like that.
The insulation has been done in the attic.
So,
Yep.
in the attic.
Yep.
And what did they do?
They insulated the entire attic that was re-insulated, was all of the old insulation was removed, and all of the new, and the whole roof of the building has been re-insulated with new. That was done, I want to say, last year. Yeah, that was all completed last year.
And what did they use for that?
They blow in stuff? Or
Yes.
do back?
Yeah, I would have to look. I don't want to misspeak. I would have to look and let you know. I could shoot you guys an email and
No,
just let you know what the
it's
product was if you're
Just curious.
really
Guys that
interested.
do this stuff for a
Yeah.
living, so. I would guess they'd probably blow it all up in.
Oh, they did blow it all in because they sucked it all out. I had a few dumpsters there in the parking lot for
Okay.
them for a couple of weeks, so.
All right. That's all I have for Jeff. You guys have any other questions for him? Do you have a director yet at DPW?
No. Paul Vlasich, our town engineer, is acting director
Yeah.
currently.
Is there, I thought someone was hired, but is that not the case?
Not to my knowledge.
That's just word of mouth.
Yep.
All right, I guess we're all set. Thanks, Jeff, for
Yeah,
coming in.
and-
Thank you, Jeff, yeah.
Yeah.
If there's anything else you guys want or need, you all have my email. Just
Yep.
email
We
me,
know you
let
are.
me know.
If
Any
you-
questions come up, just ask.
Yeah, and if you have anything that comes up with the FCA, Mark's been through this a lot. I haven't been through it as much, so, but, feel free to reach out to us. And
Yeah, I mean, definitely if you have questions or if you have anything I can help with, Jeff.
Definitely.
I mean, you have my email, just give me
Sure.
a call. So
Yeah,
whatever I can help with.
excellent.
Yep,
Good to know.
all right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah. Well, I get him first. Late at night, too.
I didn't mean to leave you out, Rob. Have you been involved in a lot of
I have, but
FCAs?
Mark is doing it, he's been involved in much more recently than I
Okay,
have.
yeah.
Mine was about 8 or 9 years ago that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't been involved with it. We looked at setting one up when I was in Cambridge, but we didn't quite get there. All right, so other items on the agenda, we got about a little over 15 more minutes. Missing meeting minutes, I still owe an email on that as to what we all have to catch up on. I was really busy that week that we had the all committee meeting, so unfortunately I spaced on that. I did not attend. I was pretty busy with work, and then I didn't have it in my calendar, so I missed it. So I'll have to follow up with Julie to see what happened, or Nico, to see what happened with that. So I don't have an update on the cross-committee discussions. Item number 4 would be the select board letter, which I still have to send that as well. I'll try to do that. This week's a little better. I'll try to get to that before the end of this week. And then the PS, Public Safety Complex update. Dave's not here, so I guess we don't have any more guidance on that.
Well, again, another, less than a month, and we'll know whether something gets voted in or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had asked Jeff if there was anything in the deliberative. Did you guys go to the deliberative session a couple weeks ago?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either, but I was just curious if there was any.
I was going to ask when they had that.
From what I understand, it was really no discussion at all. So.
All right.
That tells us anything.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I mean, if someone was against it, they would have, I would have thought, said something, but you never know.
We'll see. I mean, it's obviously, a lot of this is going to be budget related, and people feeling the squeeze and understanding whether, I don't think if nobody asks what it's going to do to the tax rates or, really understand what the projects are. We didn't really, in my opinion, we didn't really follow through with some of the last messaging and public forums, but that's
It would be a good time.
opportunity lost, I thought.
I mean, in the next couple of weeks, it would be a good time for them to refresh a lot of that, right? They had didn't Extra TV work with the chiefs and do a tour?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be good for them to do a little PR to get that up on everybody's, from their memory, I guess. But that's on them, I guess. It's on the town.
Yeah, so no, I didn't even know when the deliberative session was, so it sounds like that already happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all set then, the town, all the warrant
budget for
articles.
the 2024 budget is not set. It's
set to go to the ballot.
The ballot is set. and-
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Historically, it's tough to pass those big things on the first time around, but well, hopefully it will. We'll see. All right. So I think that's it for public safety. Guess we can move on to new business. I know Julie had replied in an email about something she wanted us to talk about. Let me see if I can pull that up.
This is a representative for the master plan for the town hall.
Yeah, that was basically the crux of it. Let me just pull up her email because I'm not familiar with what's going on. So the town hall master planning, and looking for a volunteer to represent the FAC, and then there's other interested committees and commissions. So is this something the select board is undertaking, or how is this?
I'm not sure.
I don't believe it's a select board, but I think it sounds like it's obviously Julie's a representative for him. And then there's a group of the folks that are part of the Arts Committee that are spearheading this. So I know Tony and Julie, Tony, let's see who else, Scott, Ruffner,
Who's Tony?
what's Tony of Led? Bino Vivo.
Oh, yeah, I don't know his last name, I know who you're talking about now.
What does he do?
I know his last name.
He's the owner of the wine restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and Tony's on the arts, he's on the committee
Oh, all right.
for it, and so they've been engaged in that. I'd be interested in doing it, I mean,
I'd be interested in having you do it.
Yes, I'm glad, I was hoping that you would,
All right.
either you or Chris would be able to do this. You guys have.
Oh, God, no.
well, I mean, see, I don't know if Alan is interested,
Alan's also on the sewer commission here, too, so he's probably pretty busy with
well, that's
stuff.
good, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, he said he did go to the last sewer commission meeting, but he couldn't make it tonight. I guess he's a director of facilities for a bank, and I guess they're doing a merger, and he's got a lot to do this week.
I bet he does. It's from a merging of assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I'll email back and tell her that you're volunteering to do it, Rob. Thank you.
1 hour every 2 years.
I mean, what's going to come out of that?
Closer?
I mean, I guess I'm just curious, like, how's this master plan study, who's going to, bring together all this information, produce the final, some sort of report?
I believe that they've actually from a process standpoint, they have solicited a proposal from someone, and they have received a proposal, but I don't think that from a process standpoint, I would assume that this would go through similar to what we just did before, which would be write a synopsis, kind of an RFP scenario where you're going to go through is what is the scope of work that you want people to do, which is, a kind of a programming, visioning for the facility. And then with the programming and visioning is creating, what is that program, and then what do you want to study, as far as the either reuse or change in program or change in use or not change in use, but what definition do you want for the building? Because I think it's one of the things that I've seen over the last, and that's kind of what Jeff was saying, is that without understanding how we use the building, how we want to use the building, it's a constant battle over
It's like a piece.
the second egress stair,
Yeah.
the elevator, which is already there, but where is it? It's not really on the right side of the thing. So there's the program and the kind of the use, to me, really help define what should be spent on the building, what amenities are put in there, what services are in there.
So, I mean, I think it's a great idea, and it's, I'm sure the town's talked about it for a while, and I think that's an asset that has a lot of potential, but needs a lot of this type of thinking, right? And road mapping. I think what I would suggest, and I think it's something that whoever the committee is, there's going to have to be a very defined structure, and because you have so many entities that are interested in this, and so I think it should be something the select board says this is the charter, this is the direction, or assigns a committee. You know what I mean? So because there's going to have to be some strong leadership to direct this, or what do I want to call it? Guardrails, right?
Oh, 100%.
Because you could have if whoever is, so say one of the subgroups is really outspoken and really has their act together, but they tend to get their stuff more forward than somebody else. You know what I mean? It's could be where it goes to a direction because of whoever has a little bit more power. I mean,
and ultimately the ultimate goal really would have been a real space utilization thing, that you would take the town offices, the library, and whatever public buildings that we have that potentially have either a public space within them, right? So you understand program-wise across more of our buildings, and when you're starting to think about, well, we want a room to do blank. Well, we already have
that's true, right?
5 other rooms that have that possibility. So the issue is that then you're really able to kind of look down to say, from a prioritization standpoint, okay, well, what is a priority for that particular building, versus everyone saying, okay, well, we want to whatever they want to have in that particular building and say, is that the right location for it? It could be over in this side, which actually has a better relationship to X, right?
Yeah. No, it's a good point. You don't want to put your blinders on and just look at this building. You got to look at the entire
You got to,
inventory of the town has for some of those uses, or all the uses to say like that, is that you're not
Well,
creating redundancy.
And you think about it from a utilization standpoint, is that, okay, what rooms are utilized a lot? You've got, and when are they used?
Yeah.
And what are they used for?
It's going to be a challenge. I mean, that's where it goes back to who's the chair of the committee, what's the direction. I mean, it should probably be a town employee or a select board member.
Yeah, and again, not noting, whether there's what backs up any of that. Was there an original charter? Was there original kind of conceptual public use of the building? Is there, anything that is a guideline for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would throw in that there's a revenue source there too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a large venue that you could, they've had, speakers and concerts and plays, and I mean, and not that you want to take it away from the arts committee and stuff, but, there's potential to help pay some bills there.
And then you get into the whole management part of it, which is, I know that, I know we have some certain systems, like, and if you go to Stratum, they actually, everything is managed through their, it's a web portal that actually allows you to book.
Oh.
So it's got a calendar. So if you if you want to go to Stratum Hill Park and you want to book something or use something there, you can go to the calendar, you can see what's available, you can try to reserve. So there's that plays into the whole methodology on how you sit there and figure out how you do manage multiple constituencies using the same building.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those school asset management software systems will have a module for reservations and things like that, so.
Yeah. So, but I think it's a good start for beginning to take one of the most iconic buildings in the town and kind of really begin to think about what is its long-term or whatever its next steps.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an asset that the town will always have, right? So it's something that these are the things that need to be, the box needs to be checked. So
Yeah, it's like a Faneuil Hall, it's always going to need to be maintained.
Or you have somebody else do it for you, right? Have a partnership with a company that manages it for you, and it goes that way. So.
Yeah.
No, that sounds good, Rob. I'll email back and let her know that you will be our representative for that. I have no clue what their meeting schedule will be, or the email is as much as I know. So.
Well, I think it's probably the first part of it is a fact-finding thing, just like you just said. Where are we? What is the structure? Who is the governing? What's the governance? What's the governing body for it?
Yeah, I mean, I know you'll speak well to this, but establishing those, right? Everybody has a little bit of an agenda that they want out of that building for good reason, for good things.
No, it's a great asset.
Yeah, so that's good.
All right, does anyone else have any other new business items?
No.
I don't either. I guess we can adjourn then.
What's the wording? How do you do it?
What?
Well,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
You're good at that stuff. Second.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. All right.
When you say that, can't you just say so moved or something?
So moved.
Okay,
So in other words, if you make the statement, you just say so moved. So it's basically repeating, the statement.
And then you second that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you got to have a cheat sheet of the.
You have to have your
the terminology.
Robert's rules.
That's the parliamentary.
Yeah. It's good to hear Jeff is on board.
Get your content on television. Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.